So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are staying safe. So guys, I wanted to go into what Manny Pacquiao had to say on why he thinks he beat Spence. He basically has said that he feels that Spence, he's the faster, stronger guy. I was a bit shocked about when he said he's the stronger guy. Or he put out I think it was I don't know, he must have been giving an interview, and he basically just said, I want to challenge myself against the best. I know I can beat Spence, and I feel he says, I basically feel I'm the stronger, faster guy. Now, Manny Pacquiao for me has always seen something in Errol Spence. And he's always mentioned the fact that he's slow. And I think he's even mentioned that he's quite slow of feet and his speed would cause him a lot of trouble. I do agree. I do think Manny Pacquiao's speed and movement will cause Errol Spence trouble. I do think so. I think stylistically, you can just see him causing Spence trouble. However, I want to point out, I think Spence is quite deceiving. You know, his people say he's slower. Many people have said before that, you know, he's flat-footed. He doesn't move as fast. But I think he's a lot faster than what you think. And when you get in there, you realize that. And I think Manny might realize that. I think he's a lot faster than what he looks, if you see what I mean. Like, you know how like when you look at somebody from the outside, he's like, oh, this guy looks flat-footed. He's quite slow. A bit like Canelo, where Canelo, a lot of people think he's very flat-footed and very slow. But when you get in there with him, you realize, whoa, this guy's a lot faster than what I thought. I remember Khan, when he fought Canelo, and he said, wow, this guy's really fast. You know, and if Khan's saying you're fast, then, you know, I think he would know he's one of the fastest out there. So I definitely think Spence is one of those guys that is a bit like Canelo, where he's a lot faster than what he looks. Having said that, obviously his speed is nowhere near Pacquiao. So Pacquiao's going to be quicker, way quicker than him. Or he has to be. Pacquiao has to be way, way quicker. Again, it is a 42-year-old Pac-Man, so there's question marks there. However, from going off his last performance against Thurman, because you can only go off what he did on his last performance, you know, they say that you're only as good as your last performance, and Pac-Man's last performance was really good, and he still had speed, he still had power, he still had the movement. So going off his last performance, if that Pacquiao turns up, then yeah, he's right. Do I think he's the stronger man? I don't think he's the physically stronger man. I think Errol Spence is a lot bigger than Manny Pacquiao. He's a lot taller. And I think on the clinches, he'll be a lot stronger. And Manny would probably feel it. I don't think Manny can let Errol Spence get too close. I think Manny Pacquiao is going to have to be nimble and moving around a lot. He can't get onto the ropes and let Errol Spence do his body work that we know he likes to do. Manny's going to have to be nimble on his feet and move around the ring. He can't be a static target. Do you see where I'm coming from? He can't get on the ropes and become static and let Errol Spence tee off, or, you know, or hit, you know, let those body shots go, like I just said. He needs to be moving for 12 rounds. So Manny Pacquiao is going to have to be in incredible condition. And this is why I say at age of 42, with what he has to do in order to win this fight, it'd be incredible if he pulls it off. I personally think he's going to have to box and move and be on his feet. Is he going to be able to do that for 12 rounds? What do you guys think? Do you think he's going to be able to box and move around the ring like he used to? In his prime, 100%. We all know that Pacquiao didn't struggle to, you know, 12 rounds was a cakewalk for Pacquiao. He used to do it like that. Even at very high intensity, he used to do it. You know, and even if he was... to be honest, Pacquiao in his prime used to beat a lot of guys up. You know, he was very rarely in fights where they were testing fights. You know, most of the times he was dominating. You know, in his prime, most of the fights I can think of, Cotto, Hatton, De La Hoya, you know, Clottey, I just remember him dominating, really. You know, the first real tough fight I saw him have was probably against Marquez, where Marquez knocked him down a couple of times and then he knocked Marquez. That was a tough fight back and forth. But really, a lot of Pac-Man's fights in his prime, Pacquiao's fights in his prime were quite one-sided. They were quite one-sided. He was the one that was beating the other guy up. Whereas I saw in his last fight against Thurman, that was competitive. Thurman was having his way as well. Thurman was hitting Pacquiao, and you could clearly see that Pacquiao, his body language in the ring, you could clearly see he respected Keith Thurman's power. And even the way Pacquiao, after the fight, was very in praise of Keith Thurman and his power. For me, tells me that, Pacquiao's not that same Pacquiao that we had in 2010, which is natural. He's not going to be as good as what he was in 2010. It's impossible to maintain that kind of level, but nevertheless, he's still at a very high level. And that very high level is still very, very good. And he's still very, very capable. I just doubt the stamina. There's a lot of people that are writing Manny Pacquiao off completely. I'm not writing him off completely, but I think if you have to favor Spence, but with accepting that Manny Pacquiao has a chance, I think when people write someone like that off, I just don't think you can write somebody off with that kind of ability, skills, and experience, and the big fight experience. This is Errol Spence's, he's had a couple big fights. This is his biggest fight. Manny Pacquiao has been in bigger fights than this. He's got a lot of big fight experience. That plays a major part. It's just that I think what's going to be interesting is the fact that if Manny Pacquiao has the stamina and has the physical attributes that he once had in this fight, because if he is able to bring back those physical attributes that he had in the past, then Errol Spence is in for a very, very, very hard night's work. Very, very hard night's work. Pacquiao is a tough fight for anybody. And I do think if Pacquiao, like he's saying, he believes his speed is going to be a problem. I do think his speed will be a problem. Stylistically, I think Errol Spence would be troubled. Errol Spence not had to fight anybody with speed. He's not fought anybody with hand speed like Pacquiao. I believe that kind of style will give Errol Spence trouble. The only question is Manny Pacquiao able to hurt Errol Spence? Is he able to push Errol Spence back? Is he able to make Errol Spence respect his power? If he's able to do that, it wouldn't shock me if Manny Pacquiao goes and wins a decision. However, if he's not able to do that, then that's where it becomes difficult for Manny Pacquiao. And I'll tell you why. Because Errol Spence may start walking Manny Pacquiao down. And he may start putting Manny Pacquiao on his back foot. And how much of that at this late stage, being inactive, is Manny Pacquiao going to be take on the back foot, on the ropes, taking body shots? And I do believe that Errol Spence is going to target Manny Pacquiao's body. I do believe he's going to be targeting Manny Pacquiao's body. It just depends. It just depends, man. How much? Like I said, these are going to be some of the key factors. Is he able to hurt Errol Spence? Is he able to push Errol back? Is Errol going to walk through his punches and walk him down? It's going to be. I think that's going to be the telling factor, because Keith Thurman was hurt several times in that fight. He was hurt with a body shot, knocked down in the first round. And I think Keith Thurman, if you look at the first round, he was doing quite well. But that knockdown really changed the complexion of the fight, because I felt like Keith Thurman was all over the place after that. But if you look at the round before the knockdown, Thurman was actually doing well. And I just think that knockdown really changed the course of that fight. I think Manny Pacquiao became more confident. I think Keith Thurman, obviously, it affected his confidence. And I don't think, although Keith Thurman got back into the fight, I think that knockdown and the rounds after that Manny Pacquiao was able to build momentum, I think really, for me, won Manny that fight. I think that knockdown played a big part in Manny winning that fight. Not the fact that the fight was actually close in the end. Although it was close, but it was a fight that Manny won comfortably, if you see where I'm coming from. I think there's certain close fights that you know who the winner is, and that was one of them, where it was a close fight, competitive fight, but the winner was quite clear. Um, I don't think Errol Spence is as vulnerable as Keith Thurman. I think Errol Spence has got a very good chin, and I think he's very tough. And I think that's where maybe the difference. And I think he's a lot more relentless than Keith Thurman. I think what Keith Thurman doesn't walk you down like Errol Spence. Errol Spence, he's the kind of fighter where when he sees you weakening, he'll jump on you. See, and these are the things. But like I said, you can't count Pacquiao out. You just can't. You just can't. And I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to count him out. No way. Of course he can win this fight. Of course he can win this fight. But you'd have to favour Spence. But like I said, those factors that I've just mentioned there, I believe those are going to be key. I believe those are going to be key. Can Manny hurt Spence? Is Spence going to walk through Manny Pacquiao's punches? How's Manny Pacquiao's stamina going to hold up if it's a tough fight and a grueling fight? How is his stamina going to hold up in the later rounds? Because as we saw in the Thurman fight, Thurman got back into it. Again, Thurman was getting back into the fight, and there was a... See, for me, the first round, the knockdown was pivotal, but there was another pivotal moment in the 10th round when Manny hurt him to the body. You see, that again changed the complexion of the fight. Because Thurman was starting to build momentum. He was starting to get more confident. He was starting to really come on top. But Manny Pacquiao, again, with the body shot, changed the complexion of the fight. Again, with Spence is a lot more durable than a Pacquiao. A lot more durable than a Thurman. So is Pacquiao going to be able to hurt Spence? If he is able to hurt him, then again, Pacquiao may have a great chance of pulling this off. Great chance of pulling this off. But again, I think Errol Spence is a lot more deceptive than what people think inside that boxing ring. And what I mean by that is I think a lot of people say he's slow, he's flat-footed. But when you get in there with him, I think he's a lot faster and a lot better than what he looks. See, when you look at Errol Spence, he looks quite flat-footed. He looks quite slow. But I think when you're in there, he'll probably be a lot better than what you thought watching him on the outside. I think Canelo's a bit like that as well. He's a lot faster than what people think. And I just think... I think the stamina is if Manny Pacquiao can keep this keep the pace up, I honestly think he's got a chance in this fight. I believe he can outwork Spence. I believe he can outwork Spence. It depends on what strategy Spence tries to adopt, because as Spence showed against Danny Garcia and Mikey Garcia, Spence can box. So can Spence use his height, reach, and all of that advantages that he has, because he has the physical advantage in the fight? Can he neutralize Pacquiao? There's very few guys that are going to be able to do that. You have to be very highly skilled, very disciplined, right? And against Danny Garcia, what I saw with Spence is that Spence was able to neutralize Danny Garcia. He knew that Danny Garcia throws wild hooks, and he basically didn't let Danny Garcia land any of those shots. He basically just neutralized him. However, Manny Pacquiao is not Danny Garcia. Manny Pacquiao is a lot faster. His movement's a lot better, right? And he, for me, has got, he's got more punch variety. I think he also, he may even be more powerful. He may punch harder. I think Danny Garcia is a biggish puncher, but I don't think Danny Garcia was able to land many big punches. I think Errol Spence completely neutralized him. And I barely, when I saw that fight, it was quite one-sided, quite a boring kind of affair. Because Errol Spence did neutralize Danny Garcia. And Danny Garcia wasn't really able to land any of his big shots. So, Spence's chin wasn't really tested. I know a lot of people say, well, he looked amazing against Danny Garcia and there was no ring rust from the accident and stuff. But Garcia wasn't really able to put it on him. He wasn't really able to test Spence. But that performance was very impressive, bearing in mind the accident. It was really impressive the way he came back. But again, I don't really think Danny Garcia was able to test Spence. I can barely remember him landing any, big shots. I think that Manny Pacquiao is going to be testing Spence a lot more. So let's see. Let's see how this all plays out. But I don't think this is a foregone conclusion. You know, I don't think this is as what people are making it out to be. You know, you can never write off Manny Pacquiao. You can never write off Manny Pacquiao. To be honest, let's be honest. Most people thought Thurman would beat Pacquiao. Let's be real. Let's be real. Most people said Thurman would beat Pacquiao. I was not one of them. And I know someone pointed out, oh, Imran's being, oh, he's saying Spencer's going to win. He doesn't believe in Pacquiao. Listen, man, you don't understand how big a fan I am of Pacquiao. But I keep it real, right? I'm not saying he can't win. I'm just saying that Spence is the favorite. Like, he's the favorite in the fight. I'm not saying that Pacquiao has a chance in this fight. Yes, of course he can win. And it wouldn't shock me if he did. But I picked him to beat Thurman. Go watch my previews. I picked him to beat Thurman before that fight. But what I'm saying is there was many that was doubting Manny winning that fight. I remember when I was watching what was it? I was watching that fight and they were saying, oh, well, Manny's not going to beat Keith Thurman. There was I can't remember who was in the UK before they were analysing the fight. He goes, Manny's not going to beat Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is going to be a task too much for Pacquiao at this age. He proved everyone wrong. He beat him. So I just don't think anyone can write off Manny Pacquiao. I just think he's too good. I think he's too good. Even at this age, he's too good to write him off. And I think he's got so much big fight experience. I just, you can't write him off. But having said that, you have to say that Spence is the favourite. But I think it's kind of like a 60-40, 65-35 kind of fight. I would go 60-40 in Spence's favour. Not any bigger than that for me. Just because of what I said, you just don't know what if Pacquiao, the one that fought Thurman, turns up, right? Then I don't think that Spence has fought anybody better than that version. I believe Pacquiao would beat everybody that Spence has beat. The version that beat Thurman, yeah, 100%. I believe so. So yeah, that's my take on it. What do you guys think? Do you agree with Pacquiao? Do you think he's stronger than Spence? What do you think he means by that? Because surely he doesn't mean he's physically stronger. Obviously, Spence is a lot taller, a lot bigger, naturally the bigger man. Does he mean he's the stronger man in terms of punching power? Possibly. He may well be. He's definitely the faster man. There's no question about that. But do you think he's a stronger man? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd love to know what you think. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out, guys. Take care.